Keep your eyes focused where they should be, on enjoying your retirement. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Every year, millions of Americans use opioids to manage pain. Pain can be unrelenting, overwhelming, and all-consuming. So why do so many of us try to manage pain only from the palm of our hands? Doctor-prescribed opioids are appropriate in some cases, but they just mask the pain. And reliance on opioids has led to the worst drug crisis in American history. That's why the CDC recommends safer alternatives, like physical therapy, to manage pain. Physical therapists treat pain through movement, hands-on care, and patient education. No warning labels required. And by increasing physical activity, you can also reduce your risk of other chronic diseases. Pain is personal, but treating pain takes teamwork. When it comes to your health, you have a choice. Choose more movement and better health. Choose physical therapy. Visit moveforwardpt.com to find a physical therapist in your area. This message is brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association.
Well, here we are again, and this is looking like a pretty lopsided matchup, Jim.
That's right, Ron. I mean, in one corner, we've got a 175-pound guy, and in the other, a 6,000-ton heavyweight train?
Jim, this guy has no idea what he's getting himself into.
Ron, the size difference alone is staggering.
Oh, unbelievable, Jim. And this guy is acting like he doesn't have a care in the world.
What is this guy thinking, Ron?
Well, this is one of those rare moments where I actually find myself at a loss for words.
I can hardly bear to watch.
It's no contest. Every day, people tempt fate and die trespassing on railroad tracks. Railroad tracks are more dangerous than you think. See tracks, think train. For more safety tips and information, visit ctracksthinktrain.org.
Oh, the book lover's heart. It's too healthy for words.
And the nature lover's heart, it flies high with the birds.
See the art lover's heart, throbbing vibrant with color.
And the food lover's heart, it's as sweet as a cruller.
Hear the music lover's heart, how it's always in tune.
And the night lover's heart shines as bright as the moon.
But the heart of someone with pulmonary hypertension, PH for short, labors. PH puts unbearable stress on the heart, which can cause death from heart failure. And it's often misdiagnosed as asthma. But with early, accurate diagnosis, new treatments are helping people with PH live longer and better. The Pulmonary Hypertension Association gives hope to PH patients and caregivers. We want people to have
a heart that is strong for a life rich and long.
We're putting our heart into finding a cure. Learn more at phassociation.org. That's phassociation.org.
Hey, shh. Listen. Do you hear that? It's your heart. Chances are you take that precious sound for granted. And if you're like a lot of Americans, 1/3 to be exact, you're not doing anything to prevent heart disease. So what if a cardiologist told you exactly how best to love your heart? Would you listen then? Go to clevelandclinic.org/loveyourheart and learn what really matters and what doesn't when it comes to that lovable heart of yours.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real. It happens every day.
You can recover.
Discover hope and help.
Never give up on yourself.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Philabundance is the region's largest hunger relief organization, serving more than 90,000 people each week. Almost a third are children. Help feed those in need at philabundance.org.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Barry, Sable, and Friends on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Well, good morning. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. You have tuned into the Barry Sable Show with Friends. Grateful to you for spending some time with me and my guest on this busy holiday season. How about them Eagles? 12-2. Maybe, just maybe, it's our year to be proud of them. Want you to know we are streaming live on YouTube, and I appreciate your chatting in the chat room. And I will surely, during this broadcast, try to respond to any of your inquiries. Also, I could be reached at WPHT@gmail.com for any of your thoughts you may have. Sitting in studio with me is Steve Paccaraduni. Steve, as I call him, Pac-Man, is an executive chairperson of Washington Township of the Republican organization. His wife says he's a swell guy. I guess I'll find that out in the next hour, but I do believe her. Steve, I want you to know, first of all, good morning.
Good morning, Barry. Thanks for having me on.
Second of all, I'm upset. I was out last night in Center City, and I get home at about 10:30, and I look in the sky in my development, and I see a massive drone. And I said to myself, you've got to be kidding. And to be honest with you, it doesn't take a lot for some people, but for me to shake, it takes a lot. And I look at this thing, and I stare at it, and I stare at it, and like 3 minutes later, it takes off. Steve, what in the world is going on?
Unfortunately, we don't know. As American citizens of residents of New Jersey, Barry, I was in Cherry Hill last night about that same time. And as we were getting on 295 with my wife Gina, we looked up, and there that drone is.
Yep.
And it's completely incompetence by Governor Murphy's office. It's also the federal government not telling us what's going on. Everyone should be outraged.
Yep.
They're keeping us in the dark. I don't understand why. Maybe it's because they want the new administration to have chaos coming in. I would hope not, but it's unacceptable. And as residents of New Jersey and the East Coast, we should be up in arms and calling our congressmen, our senators.
I agree.
It can't happen like this. And
It's
don't
scary.
lie to us.
Yeah, it's scary. So let me tell you what happened last night. So somebody approached me, nice-looking young lady, and she said to me, do you know anything about this QAnon and all these conspiracy theories? And frankly, we all have a sense to indulge in that. But that's not what my particular show is about. It's hard for me to guess about these hypotheses and these theories. But I have to bounce this off you. My whole show, as I scripted this week, kind of with you, what topics I want to talk about, when I saw the drone in the air, I was really pissed. And I got to tell you something. It started me thinking. The Wuhan lab, okay? They're there in space kind of equipment, okay? And we have just solely a mask on, one thing. Fentanyl pouring into this country, balloons flying our country, now drones. I don't know what's going on, but frankly, it's got to be a concerning time. And I mean this. This is frightening to me that the government won't at least inform us as to what is going on. It's a holiday season. We saw what happened in Germany. I guess it's a few days ago where this moron ran through the marketplace, killing, 6 or 7 or 8 and injuring 200 people. Why can't this happen in America, Steve? It could. Look at all the people that came into our country. We don't even know where they are, who they are.
It's almost done by design in my mind, Barry. I don't know if other people think about that, but you are correct. They lied to us about masks. They said, oh, you had to put a mask on. Anyone with a little common sense would say, if you're wearing something different than I'm wearing, how could it be just as effective? 6 feet. They realized they just picked that number out of a hat to say, okay, it's 6 feet apart.
Yep.
And now something that, really could affect us. So you have this SUV-sized drone flying over your head.
Frightening.
What happens? What happens if this thing malfunctions and crashes into a house? Are they willing to risk the lives of American citizens over some type? I don't even understand what agenda they would have and not say that this is either ours or, hey, this is unacceptable. I just can't imagine what's going on.
And your mind starts to wander because I don't believe that we are the only civilization in this solar system. So what that means is somebody coming down to peek on us? If they are, they're not going to learn anything other than chaos because this country has been in chaos for a long, long time. So when we had balloons flying over, that wasn't a big deal until they got shot down and we realized that someone was gathering information on us. When you have these drones, and unfortunately, I didn't even want to talk about this today. Everybody's talking, but when I saw this thing in the sky last night, I, honest to God, started to shake. I walked into my house and I said, God forbid somebody could drop a bomb here or something of that nature. We don't know the consequences. It's really frightening. Your last thoughts before we kind of go on to what I really want to talk about.
Well, my last thoughts on the drones are it seems like it's almost partisan. And I would hate to say that, but it almost seems like the Republican lawmakers and Republicans are more upset about it than the Democrats. The Democrats seem to trust the government, or just because Joe Biden is still in office, they're going to trust him as they trusted him through COVID and everything else. It just doesn't make sense to me. So right now we need answers. And in my opinion, January 20th can't come soon enough.
Yeah, well, I agree. And I'm looking forward to the orange guy taking office. I believe that this country is going to go through a metamorphosis and a change for the good. I think that, I have to give you another, for instance. I was in one of our familiar eateries yesterday afternoon, and I looked around, and I got to tell you the truth. I don't want to call it a fast food entity because it wasn't quite that. It was a step above. And I looked around, and 85% of the people were grossly overweight, from kids to parents. And I look and I say to myself, why would you want to fight a Kennedy who thinks that we should have our society in better shape? Why do we have to rely on Big Pharma for drugs and all these things when we need to take precautionary measures for us to be healthy? These are the things that go through my mind, especially during the holidays. Your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, what you said about being unhealthy in this country, that is true. And when you do go out to some of these restaurants, it's amazing. They made them put the salt content on the menus, but they don't. They told us they ruined an entire industry over smoking. Okay, just say so. Government intervention, smoking's bad for you. We have to ruin this industry. Well, why is it there the same pushback against the food that is causing all our health problems in this country here? Yep. So either be equal or fair with both ends of this is affecting our health. But again, we had talked about this before too. Also, with this great freedom comes responsibility, and unfortunately the government picks and chooses which freedom or how they want us to be responsible. And as American citizens, we need to change that mindset.
Steve, when is enough going to be enough? I've seen enough. And my faithful, who I appreciate every Sunday morning, listening to me, I'm sure, have had enough. This shooting in Madison, Wisconsin, has totally unnerved me. And I put myself in the position of a parent, of a grandparent, of an aunt, or an uncle, or a cousin, or a brother or sister. And it's like heartbreaking, especially around the holidays, okay? It's heartbreaking throughout the course of the year. But my point is to you, and I really was going to give it to you pretty good this morning. I have all these notes, as you know,
that's a lot of notes.
Before I prepare. Huh? Is somebody looking for me? No, okay, we're okay. So what I was thinking is, after the shooting that was on TV, and obviously the same format, police captain comes on, gives a speech. This is a sad day in our community. Our hearts are saddened. We found him or her, the suspect. Or we're looking. We don't know what the motive is. We don't know what the murder weapon is, what it exactly is. We are checking on phones, families, computers. That's one thing. Then I go on to the newscasters. Same thing. Our hearts are heavy with these losses, sending our prayers to the community and the families. Then I listen to the reporters. What type of gun? Stupidest questions ever. People. 4 people. Kids are dead. And nobody cares. We're talking about all this other nonsense. When, Steve, are we going to have metal detectors? When are we going to have police officers or veterans or private service, especially start with public schools, sitting there making sure that this doesn't happen? I am sick and tired of us not being proactive. All of our money going to overseas, all these countries, all these other nonsensical stuff. Biden just gave $1 billion to Africa. How about $1 billion for us? Yo, Steve, what gives?
So a lot of things give on this. First and foremost, when we talk about our children, we protect banks with armed guards.
Yes.
We protect our valuables with armed guards. Our most valuable asset that we have is our children. And for people mostly on the left, I hate to say it, mostly on the left say, well, we don't want the kids to go and feel that they're going to prison when they go to school. Well, you have your Eagles jersey on. They go through that game today. You take your kid to the game. He's going through a metal
That's
detector.
true. Good point.
You can't bring
Good point.
Can't bring the bag. You can't
No.
bring a bag in. You can't have a backpack that's not clear.
Yep.
Very, very simple. And if you have a law enforcement officer in front of the school every day, that deters the kid that's probably not exactly sure what they could do, but they know they could get away with it.
Yep.
So if you protect our children, you
Yep.
can.
You go through the airport. It's the same mechanism. Listen, time is flying. My God, would you believe we're up against the break?
Wow.
You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends, 1210 WPHT. We will see you with my guest, Steve Pacman, on the other side.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
I'm Bev. My husband Bill is living with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, a type of interstitial lung disease that can scar your lungs and make it hard to breathe. ILD can be hard to diagnose. If you're out of breath with a constant dry cough, ask a pulmonologist if it could be ILD. Bill and I have been married for over 60 years, and we're looking forward to more. If you or someone you love may have ILD, find support, hope, and help at lungsandyou.com.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
Most of us don't fit in the clothes we wore 30 years ago. And financial advice from 30 years ago doesn't fit either. Tune in to the Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen. Saturdays at 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Happy holidays to all. It's the perfect time to talk about Rescue Natural Supplements and their Deck the Hall sale, because right now you can save up to 78% on exceptional natural supplements for every area of your health. From essentials like omega-3s, probiotics, cholesterol support, natural pain relief, and more. And the best part? Over a dozen health-boosting rescue products are marked down under $20. Get started. Stock up today. Call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. res-q.com. With Rescue, you can reinforce your immune system, boost energy, and reach your health goals. Again, there's no code needed to save up to 78% site-wide. So get a head start on your health. Visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Do it today.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city. You can stay in the know, no matter what you're up to, and be among the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard. To get started, download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, and follow your local news station.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yes, indeedy, we are back. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Steve, you have me all riled up this morning. We were talking about everywhere you have to go today, you have to give some kind of ID. You go into a hospital, give me an ID. You go into an office building, give me an ID. We have become used to that since 9/11. So what is the big deal of making children feel more secure? You go through a metal detector. They're used to that, Steve.
Again, it doesn't make sense to me that everywhere you go, even here, coming to the radio station this morning, you have to check in with security.
That's right.
You have to go through something. So if these kids from day one, when they go to school, they see a law officer in front of the building, he's your go-to guy if there's something wrong. You go through security, and it becomes normal to them. The left will tell you we don't want our schools to feel like prisons or this, that, the other thing. But everything else in society is exactly like that. We're protecting the wrong things in society for false pretenses, too. I have no problem. In Washington Township, our council has made that a resource officer is good at every school. We hire retired police officers, retired law enforcement, retired military.
That's right.
We should have the money to do that. Our federal government should be protecting our children at any cost.
Larry Casanova on the other side of the glass with Kurt, our producer. I asked you to pull up some statistics this week on the amount of shootings or the people that were shot and killed. Do you have that for me and our listeners?
Yes, I do, Uncle Barr.
Go ahead, buddy.
So, according to CNN, there have been at least 83 school shootings in the United States so far this year as of December 16th.
Wow.
27 were on college campuses, and 56 were on K-12 school grounds. The incidents left 38 people dead and at least 115 other victims injured, Uncle Barr.
Steve, when are we going to care about American lives? This upsets me internally, what goes on in our country. We have all kind of, in Jewish, it's called mishigas going on, okay? We give tons of money overseas. We're all sick of it. We know what's going on in the Ukraine war with Russia. Honestly, the Middle East is a sad in affairs, too. We know that Syria now has had all kind of headaches. We give and we give and we give, but we don't internally take care of Americans. When are Americans going to say, I had enough, Steve?
Well, hopefully after this election, where a lot of them did say they had enough and voted against the crazy policies of the left, but they should be saying every day our children need to be protected.
Yep.
Instead of Biden immediately got out there and blamed the gun. Blamed the gun.
Right.
Didn't blame the lack of protection for our children, a lack of security, and blamed the gun. And I think enough people will see this and continue to vote the way they voted in 2024. And that's how we fix this problem.
Well, let me ask you a question. What price do you put on a life? I mean, it's absurd and it's ridiculous. Listen, a lot of people do not have guns and they coexist and they live. And I don't know how you would ever take away the Second Amendment right by having the opportunity to defend yourself. Obviously, if you didn't have guns, we don't know where government could take us. We've seen this happen before. They strip you of certain rights. You see what happens with the media. We've seen this over the last strongfold over the last 4 years. You don't have guns, you are susceptible to government. And hopefully, if we have some time, we'll get into that. But the question becomes, when are we going to change for the better? I mean, it's tough loves. And I'm hoping that Trump could come in with his administration. I know there's going to be a ton of pushback. So what? That's the way it goes. We don't have any normalcy. There's no common sense. You know, when I come on the air, there's nothing sophisticated about this show. There's nothing sophisticated about common sense. It's common. All you have to do is go back to the protocols that made this country great. And we've gotten away from that, Steve.
We have. We have. Unfortunately, citizens and the residents, of our country have come complacent. And also, too, and we talked about this before with vote totals. 42% of the voters vote in elections. It's insane.
Yeah.
I think, though, the way that people can fix this problem is be involved. Be involved. The simple thing is to vote. Know who your candidates are. Vote that way. And the common sense candidates should be the ones that are winning. And then get involved. Support that. So we had 75 million, 76 million people vote for the president. Support him now. Support him. If you just vote for him and walk away, nothing's going to get done.
Well, let me ask you a question. You had 75 million people supposedly vote for the left and Kamala Harris, and you had 77 million that voted to the right and Donald Trump. So my question to you becomes, what are the 75 million thinking? Who are the 75 million? Are they a lot of people that do not have allegiance to the United States of America? Do they not care about America? Who are these people? Because when you look at the obvious principles of what's happening in this country, we've been disintegrating for a long time, Steve.
All right. Yeah, that is true. The people that vote, or mostly the votes were the party lines are going to be the party lines. You're going to get the same people that vote. Doesn't make a difference who's on the ballot.
Yep.
They're going to vote party lines. This election was slightly different because there's 35% registered independents in this country.
Right.
So the vote totals that Donald Trump received and the Republicans received are much higher in the independents. So those independents are moving our way, and we need to keep those people, our way and make sure that they stay involved and engaged, because if they don't turn out for the next election, then we're going to lose all the gains that we had now. And that's the biggest thing that we need. We need engagement of people in our country, in our government, because it is our government. It's for the people, by the people. And unfortunately, a lot of people think that their vote doesn't count, which it does. We just said that. So I think we fix a lot of these problems, not by government fixing it, by we the people getting involved and fixing these problems.
So, Steve, let me ask you a question. You are the executive chairman of Washington Township, and I attended one of your functions that wasn't that long ago. Chitterelli was there. Bashaw was there. Matter of fact, your friend Matt Rooney was there. Kale from this radio station was there. I guess the question is how did you attract voters in your district, and what were you suggesting to the members of the community of, say, let's call it South Jersey?
Right. So how I got people involved was telling them that their vote did matter. It wasn't rigged. It wasn't fixed. We had to get 2020 out of our minds. All the other elections after that have been fair. And I told them, I said, do you like the things that are happening? We didn't talk about the normal things, the taxes and this and that. But I talked to him about, I said, do you feel secure in your community? He said, well, car thefts are up and this, that. I said, well, if you vote to the left, they wanted to fund the police. I said, does that make sense? We're losing state funding, in New Jersey from Governor Murphy for our school districts. And it didn't make sense. And I think people just wanted to find out who the candidates were. And I stressed, please find out who your candidates are. So I have all the time.
Great job you did, Steve.
Well, thank you.
You really did, honestly. I know you don't want me to pat you on the back, but I have to tell you the truth. You turned a lot of districts in your community, and you raised a lot of eyebrows. Steve, hold that thought. Seth Grossman, libertyandprosperity.com, my friendly nemesis that attacked me. I needed to take a shower last week after you were on the air with me. Good morning. Thank you for calling in, my friend.
No, we were just doing what Benjamin Franklin said Americans should do. With different political views collide, sparks of truth fly out, and political light is attained.
I wouldn't have had it any other way, Seth. Any other way. You were terrific last week, and I appreciate that. What's going on, Seth?
Well, there was this tragic massacre of innocent people in Germany about 3 days ago.
Yes.
Where an Arab from Saudi Arabia, a doctor who had moved to Germany, suddenly rented a car and drove at high speed through a crowded Christmas festival in Germany, killing about 2 or 3 people, mangling about 5 or 6 others. And
No. I thought there was 200 people that got injured, Seth. A lot more than that.
Right. Probably it was as high as 200. And when you look at the video, it's just horrible.
Yeah.
And people are saying, well, why? At first, it looked like a normal jihad murder, where you have this Salafi sect or Wahhabi sect of Islam believes that it's the duty of every Muslim to kill every non-believer at every opportunity.
Yep.
But this particular terrorist, he said he was an ex-Muslim. He supported right-wing parties.
He supports Hamas. He supports Hamas. He didn't quit anybody. He didn't quit any organization. He's supporting the people that want to change the culture of the Western civilization, to me, and the world, Seth. But go ahead.
But what I want to point out is that if you want to understand what motivates these people and how you can have someone live in Germany like a normal psychiatrist in normal society for 20 years and blend in and be totally assimilated, and then suddenly snap out and commit these horrible murders, how could that possibly be? And the answer, ironically, comes from the Islamic State senior commander who grew up in Margate, New Jersey, and graduated Atlantic City High School in 2010, a guy called Zulfi Haksa of Albanian descent. And what he did when he got radicalized right after graduating Atlantic City High School, he went to Syria. He became a commander in the Islamic State. He started making videos of himself beheading unarmed prisoners over there, but was even more chilling. He made these videos addressed to normal Muslim Americans here in America, saying that if you have a sinful life, if you do not study Islam, if you're a failure, anything goes wrong, you could get instant redemption and forgiveness of all sins and eternal life in paradise by killing a non-believer.
Come up for air, Seth. Go ahead,
Seth,
Steve.
if I could stop you for 1 second, and you're a wealth of information, and thank you so much. But what bothers me the most, all this stuff, and we knew about this guy, and he was on a terror watch list. He's on the radar in Germany. Why are these people allowed to walk the streets of America or any other country? Germany knew this guy was a bad guy. Why was he allowed to be there? How do we fix that problem?
Well, the problem that makes it more dangerous is you could have normal people who say, look, I embrace America. I love America. But what happens is the first setback in life, they get dumped by their girlfriend, they lose their job, their parents don't like them. Whereas any Christian or Jewish kid goes through that failure, they go to synagogue, they'd be taught to say prayers or to become a priest or to do something. But you have that radical teaching in Islam that if you're a total failure, you could instantly forget all your sins forgiven just by killing non-believers. And that's a very dangerous thing, and we have to really question whether Islam is compatible
with
Western
point.
society. We want to be liberal, we want to be tolerant, but we just don't understand what we're dealing with.
I get it, but here's the point. How much do we have to learn from other situations until we do the right thing here? We have an open border, okay? The border is still open today. Still today, people are coming into this country illegally. We don't know who they are. It's the same nonsense. I'm not going to tie in shootings in school, okay, because as far as I'm concerned, that takes me down another whole rabbit hole, because we should be putting money into health care. We should be putting money into insane asylums. We have homeless on the street. We're not taking care of our veterans. We have towers a tunnel or tunnels a tower begging for money, okay? We have so many problems, Seth, that we see what goes on not just in other countries, but our country, and we are not doing anything to prevent this kind of stuff. We just don't. He was supposed to be extradited, incidentally. The country that he came from, he committed crimes, just so you know.
Yeah. No, let me do a good quote from Adam Smith. He said, "Compassion for the guilty is cruelty for the innocent." Sometimes we try so hard to understand someone's in trouble, and we want to help them. It's our human compassion, but we forget how many people who we don't see, who we are condemning to these horrible deaths. because we're giving compassion to the one person, the criminal, who doesn't deserve it.
Yep.
And we have to look at that morality. Like even right now, there's compassion for the Menendez brothers.
I know.
Who murdered both their parents. Compassion for Susan Smith, who drowned her 2 babies in a lake in South Carolina. So when we have compassion for the guilty, it's cruelty to the innocent, and that's how we have to start being a little harder. Same thing with illegal immigrants. We have compassion for the immigrants, but if we overrun our country with illegal immigrants, we're depriving a normal life for most Americans. So we have to think of the big picture and not just the one person we feel sorry for in front of us. So thank you very much for letting me inject this morning.
Of course. Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity. Have a great holiday. Thanks for the call. Steve, we're up against the break again. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Man, time is flying by. We can't get anything out. Any thoughts? But we surely will see you on the other side of the break. Don't leave us.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
California Psychics is the real deal. They helped me out, totally changed my attitude, totally got me psyched to start my business and take a new path in my life.
At California Psychics, we only connect our customers with the best. We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us, so we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
It's no secret, the clock is ticking. Grab your last-minute gifts at News. Quick, affordable gifts for the whole fam for under $10. Toys by Barbie, Disney, Mattel, Hot Wheels, Nerf, Sonic, Fisher-Price, and more, starting at just $3.99. Small electronics you can easily wrap for $4.99. Box gift sets you can throw a bow on, start at just $5.99. Box cozy PJs start at $9.99. Don't wait. Time is running out. Get to Foreman Mills now.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535 or biglou.com.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yes, indeedy. Thanks for hanging in there with me, my special guest, Steve, what I call Pac-Man. Steve, by the way, you are listening to 1210 WPHT if you aren't aware of who you're listening to, and it is the Barry Sable Show with friends.
Well, Uncle Barry, first and foremost, I always wanted an Uncle Barry. Where I grew up, I had Uncle Nunzio, and Uncle Rocky, and Uncle Tony. I never had an Uncle Barry, and I really, it makes me feel great. It makes me feel great that I have an Uncle Barry.
There you go.
So,
My pleasure.
We were talking a little bit about common sense in this country, which is, gone out the window. But also, how does that affect the fabric of our nation? How our founding fathers thought about what this nation was going to be about, and common sense going away is eroding that.
Yeah, well, it's very funny that you asked me that because, as you know, and I know you listened to the show last week, I tried to get this out of Seth.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did is I'm reading this book by this Higbee gentleman, and I came up with quotes from George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, William Penn, and I took him down this alleyway, and I was trying to get him to convert from what happened in the 16 and the 1700s. These guys had a tremendous vision of what the country was going to be. Now, remember, we didn't have airways at that time. We didn't have televisions. We didn't have technology. What did we have? We had Paul Revere, and people of that nature. And we had railroad lines that were being established and telegraph lines and everything else. And the point is that America has come such a long way in such a short period of time. The problem is our values. And we always say it on the show, country, religion, education, and the family unit. We've gotten away from all that, Steve. And I see the fabric of America greatly changing. And I've always said that Rome fell, Greece fell. It took about 475 years. To me, I don't like the path America is going on. And now we have drones flying over and balloons, and we're not doing anything about it. Frankly, I think our enemies are on the move, and we are not.
You're correct in that, and also we talked about too our government was set up to provide for our defense,
yes,
from foreign nations because we can't do that as individual citizens, and then also provide for our prosperity. And unfortunately, they've switched those two together. That we should be prosperous, but we should give that prosperity to other countries because we want them to be prosperous also. Right. And we're losing sight. We talked about this too. Homeless people coming in today. There's homeless people in the parking garage. Homeless people when you were walking out of the restaurant last night.
On a vent, 18 degrees last night, right. And a guy sleeping in some kind of sleeping bag over a heated vent. This is what we allow to happen in America today. Look, not everybody's qualified to be successful in life, but we have 38% people that are in bad shape in this country. Mm-hmm. The economy is suffering because we don't take society, as far as I'm concerned, and advance the ball with people. We allow people to be stagnant. We pay people not to go to work. We're paying all these immigrants to come here, hotels, credit cards, food, clothing, cell phones. We're not using common sense anymore. And this show goes over the same darn thing over and over and over. But the proof is in the pudding. As far as I'm concerned, I look at the beautification of America. It's all on the backs of individuals. Where is government taking all of our money and spending it wisely? Philadelphia Airport, a mess. Roads, a mess. Infrastructure, a mess. High-speed lines we don't have like they have in Europe. Steve, where is all our money going? There's no common sense to any of this.
Well, so everything you just said there, our founding fathers then set up our government to provide for our protection. We have drones flying over us.
And prosperity, right?
And prosperity.
Yep.
We have drones flying over us that we have no idea what they are, and they're affecting our defense. And then for prosperity are the agenda or the policies that our federal government putting in place providing for our prosperity for all citizens, not a handout just to keep you alive. The money that they're spending in foreign countries, how come they're not spending that money on our veterans? How come they're not spending our money on fixing the homeless problem? Yes, there's a huge mental illness problem in this country, but instead of spending $50 billion more to Ukraine, how about we take some of that money and try to help fix the mental problems that we have in this country?
We have dispensaries all over the place, and now we have more people getting drugs, driving on drugs, operating on drugs, whether it's sensible or not, and whether it should be legalized or not. That's over my pay scale. But I know one thing. We took away insane asylums. You had Byberry on Roosevelt Boulevard. At least there was a place to take people off the street, especially for people that are wacky and wackadoos. We saw what happened to Daniel Penny. He grabbed the guy, choked the guy in the subway in New York. I mean, whatever it is, thank God that guy got off. He could have spent 15 years in jail for trying to do the right thing. I'm not crazy about someone dying. Nobody is, to be honest with you. And that's another whole bailiwick in itself. But I look at things, and I could tell you, if Pete Davidson can snag Ariana Grande, Kim Kardashian, and Kate Beckinsale, you can become a forklift certified guy or woman, meaning everybody could go to work. He did it. He could do it. So could he. Look what he got. Look what he snagged. Why can't America today put people to work for the betterment of this country? Maybe a lot of our issues and all of our issues could go away if we supported Americans in the right way, education especially.
You're 110% correct with that. We're not investing in our citizens or our countries.
Yep.
Our roads are a disaster. I'm in the automotive industry.
Yep.
And it's good for business, but it pains me to tell people that, hey, you need tires and rims because the roads are so bad.
Right.
Our airport, Philadelphia International Airport, is a disgrace. It's a disgrace compared to airports around the world.
Yep.
We're failing. And why are we failing? Because of the people in D.C. And how did we get those people? They're not the right people in office. It's because people don't care. 42% turnout on elections. I keep going back to that. This is the problem.
Steve, you're involved in politics. You are involved in nominating people to run for political offices in your district. I have never seen such poor people in powerful positions. Look at this administration. Mayorkas lied to us. Blinken has lied to us. Kirby has lied to us. The press secretary has lied to us. Kamala Harris has lied to us. They told us that the president of the United States could go in the back of the building and do 40 push-ups and can I run a mile in 3:59. All of this was lies. I blame guys like you. How do you like that? Let you take the responsibility. What are we doing? We don't have the right people. And not only that, Steve, in my world, in my mind, we we elect a lot of these politicians or put them in powerful positions. They walk into positions in the political world broke, and they leave with their monies full of dollars in gold. How's that? Mendez, gold.
You're correct on that. And the reason why we don't have the right people in politics is because they don't want the problems that come along with it. I ran for a local office, for a county commissioner office. They attacked me unmercifully. They mentioned my wife in a negative campaign mailer.
Of course.
So if you're a successful person and you have all this knowledge and you want to say, hey, I want to give back to this country, just like President Trump has been doing, look what they put him through.
Of course.
That's why. So how do we stop this? Is that the people that are there now, the ones that are telling us, all the people who lied to us that you just mentioned, vote them out of office and encourage good local people to run and then support them. It happens all the time on my side. We get good people to run. Maybe they'll lose election, they disappear, or they said, I'm not going through that again because they dragged my name through the mud. We should stop with that and encourage and support good people to run.
Steve, a minute before we take a break, the people that have been nominated for these positions, Pete Hagstad, the Speaker of Press Secretary, and all these other people that have been nominated by Trump. You have Musk, you have Vivek, and all these other people. What's going to happen? Give me 30 seconds. What's going to happen going forward? Are we going to see a bundle of Kavanaugh headaches, if you want to call it, or a disposition of what they did to him? Is that going to happen again?
Of course they were, because the left is going to cause those problems in D.C. So what we need to do, the 76 or 77 million people that voted for Donald Trump, stay involved. Call your congressmen, call your senators, and tell them we want Donald Trump's picks through. That's what we need to change this country. So they're fighting it here. They're giving us a hard time. He has brought Elon Musk in, the richest and most successful man in the world, and the left is giving him a hard time. It's insane.
You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends, 1210 WPHT. We'll see you on the other side. Another 10 minutes to go. Please don't leave us.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/rain to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/rain. That's leaffilter.com/rain.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause. Brought to you by the Labor and Energy Alliance this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that will affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Hey, Ambler. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Follow us anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
Yes, indeedy, we are back. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends, 1210 Talk Radio. Just a little bit of homework here. Today is our last show of the year. We will be returning on January 12th. That means we're going to be off for December 29th, and January 5th, we're being preempted for sporting events. That's number one. Number two, I will be sitting in for Dawn this week, Dawn Stenslin, on the 24th and the 26th. That means we're sandwiching Christmas from 10 to 12. I'd appreciate if you listen. Gary, Stam, and Kimmy on the chat box. I want you to know how much I appreciate you and others. I can't get everybody else in. But Kimmy, you're active. I'd love to meet you, love to talk to you. I'd love to converse with you. Steve, go ahead.
Uncle Barry, first and foremost, I've been listening to the show for well over 6 months now. And I was honored to come on because you're the common sense guy. You're thinking what everyone else is thinking out there, and you're saying it. You're saying it. And today's show, we didn't get deep dive into rabbit hole stuff, and there's a bunch of things we can go in, conspiracy theories and everything like that. But what you're telling people is common sense. You have had enough, and a lot of other people have had enough, and they did speak loudly in this last election. So what is Uncle Barry going to do in the new year to keep people engaged and keep them involved and bring common sense back to us?
Well, I'll tell you, that's a good question. I appreciate the kudos. You know, it's very hard for me to come on the air, and it's a privilege to be on the air. I have to tell you, a year and a half ago, David Yagroff, and Greg Stocker were fortunate enough and good enough to put me on the air. And it's not easy to prepare for a show every week. You can't imagine, Steve. I must spend 30 hours a week preparing. And all the information that I want to talk about just doesn't seem to happen in a quick hour. I wanted to talk to you about Daniel Penny. I want to talk to you about our hostages. Why aren't they getting released? I wanted to talk to you about so many things that occur. Politics is a crazy in a crazy way today. It's different than it used to be. Every time you pick up on a television set and you look at a show such as Fox or CNN, there's always crazy things that are happening. And I don't remember growing up as a kid seeing all these kind of things. For me, it's hard to come on the air and know what people really want to listen to. It's a Sunday morning. I don't want to get hard and heavy. We didn't talk about the budget this week that, thank God, went through. But who knows? It's 1,500 pages. Who could have the time to go through in a 2-day or 3-day period? That's what the government does to us and politicians. 1,500 pages. You're going to read that in 3 days and assume that all those things are to the benefit, Steve?
Right. It's impossible to do that. So you have had enough. And you got involved.
That's right.
And we appreciate that because we need more voices like you out there. And people need to get engaged with you. They need to be emailing you and saying, Uncle Barry, I want to talk about this. I want to know about this. You had the gumption, shall we say, I'd be nice, we're live on the radio, to do this. And that's what this country needs because the left will cancel you in a second if you say something they don't like.
Yep.
And you're willing to take that hit. And I appreciate the opportunity to come on to this show and continue doing what you're doing. And we're going to support you, Barry, because that's what we need. We need a voice of reason and common sense.
Thank you. And here's what happens. You asked me a question, what do I want to do for next year? And that's an interesting question. Only because, and I've always said it on the air, I hate politics. I'm a jeweler. Everybody knows who I am. I was the Diamond Authority at Sandsbury. They know about my business. They know about my affiliation with the Will Smiths and the Charles Barkleys and all the athletes in the news. That I'm done with that realm of being. I then went into the real estate business, taught myself how to build a house from the ground up, and I've loved that business. Now I'm on radio. And radio, it's kind of a hobby, but it's not really a hobby because it takes so much time. What I would really like is for people to email me or in our chat box and tell me about the subjects that they want to talk about. I personally would love to have humanistic stories. I want to know about guys that fought in the Vietnam War. What was that like that we saw with Rambo? Shoeshine box. And we saw things such as people, coming up from the ground shooting. I want to know what Angel Orange is and all that other kind of stuff. I guess that's the terminology. Am I right?
Agent.
Not angel. Yes. Agent. Of course. I want to know about that. I want to know about guys that are firefighters, what kind of peril and what kind of feelings they have before they jump into a building. I want to know about women of the night. I want to know about everything and anything, Steve, that our listeners are interested in. So I need feedback. Politics. We're all sick of it.
Right.
The orange guy's in. He's there. We need to have some faith. We need to have some hope. And we need to allow change to take place. Most of us are not accustomed to change. We get up in the morning. We brush our teeth. We sit on the toilet, we take a shower, and that's who we are. And to be honest with you, now to shuffle the deck like they do in blackjack in the casino is a little confusing to card counters, so they can't count the cards so well. So we need to have a little bit of ingenuity and say, as a public, I don't want to hear about white-black situations anymore. I don't want to hear about race. I don't want to hear about any of that kind of stuff. I want to hear about the future, what is positive, and what we could do to help grow this country. I'm only on for an hour. Yeah, I'm on with Dawn for a few hours, but I'm here for an hour. I have 30 seconds. That's it. Wrap me up with 30 seconds, Steve.
Barry, we appreciate what you're doing. And you also, people have to get back to that American dream, that common sense, what our founding fathers said, we have a dream and you're living it because you can be in this country anything you want to be if you work hard out of it. And we don't need politicians or government to tell us what to do. They should need to be listening to us.
Yes.
If a kid from South Philly could be on live with you on 12:10 a.m., anybody can do anything.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. And that's why I constantly say to my listenership, it's a privilege that you let me into your households, you let me into your heart, you let me into your soul. Yes, I'm going to see you on Tuesday and Thursday for Dawn, but I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah. To Steve Pac-Man, thanks for joining me in studio this morning. Philly, on your busy Sunday, let's hope that the Eagles win today. You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I'm all wound up today. Have a great week, a healthy week, a safe week. And we will see you on the 12th of January. Thanks for always being there for me, and have a great, safe holiday. Thank you, my listenership.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Phil Almquist giving the Kale and Company flag to Jeremy. He's the recipient for the week.
You promise you'll